That ice cream in your freezer contains the same thickening agent they use to make paint. I'm about to reveal which brands are lying to you and which ones actually deserve your money. Trust me, after seeing this ranking, you'll never shop the same way again. Let me tell you something about Alden's organic ice cream that'll save you some serious cash. This brand has mastered the art of expensive disappointment. You walk into the store, see that fancy organic label, and think you're about to treat yourself to something special. Well, think again. Alden's charges premium prices like they're selling liquid gold, but what you actually get tastes more like frozen regret. Here's the weird part. The ice cream melts faster than your patience at the DMV. 1 minute, you've got a perfect scoop. The next minute, you're drinking vanilla-flavored milk. And speaking of flavor, where exactly is it hiding? The taste vanishes quicker than your grandson when chores need doing. But wait, it gets worse. That texture? Chalky. Like someone mixed playground sand with cream and called it gourmet. You know that rich, creamy mouthfeel you expect from premium ice cream? Forget about it. Alden's delivers the consistency of disappointment with a side of buyer's remorse. The real kicker is how they target older Americans who grew up believing expensive equals quality. Makes sense, right? Back in the day, that rule usually held true. But Alden's proves that some companies will slap an organic sticker on mediocrity and charge you double. Trust me, your taste buds deserve better than this overpriced frozen letdown. And speaking of overpriced disappointments, that'll make your wallet cry. Well, if you thought Alden's was overpriced, wait until you meet Oberweis. This brand has mastered the art of fancy packaging and premium marketing. Too bad they forgot about the actual ice cream inside. Here's the thing about Oberweis. They've convinced people that expensive equals excellent. It's like buying a luxury car that looks amazing in the showroom, but breaks down after driving it around the block once. The moment you take that first spoonful, reality hits harder than a brain freeze. The texture? Airy as a politician's promise. You're essentially paying premium prices for whipped air with a hint of dairy flavor. Remember when your grandmother would accidentally overwhip cream and it turned into nothing? That's Oberweis on a Tuesday. But the real kicker is how fast this stuff melts. We're talking faster than ice cubes in Arizona summer heat. Before you can even appreciate whatever flavor they're attempting, it's already turning into expensive milk soup in your bowl. The limited distribution makes it feel exclusive, like some secret club for ice cream connoisseurs. Well, here's the secret. You're not missing much. It's the emperor's new clothes of the frozen dessert world. And the flavor intensity? About as bold as elevator music. You'll find yourself wondering if your taste buds went on vacation or if Oberweis just forgot to add actual flavor to their recipe. Speaking of brands that promise more than they deliver, let's talk about another disappointment that uses a different trick entirely. Turkey Hill looks fancy on the shelf with all those vanilla bean specks floating around like little promises of flavor. But here's the thing about promises. Sometimes they're as empty as a politician's campaign speech. The biggest problem? They pump this stuff full of air like they're inflating a balloon. Sure, it makes the container feel full, but you're basically paying premium prices for whipped nothing. It's like buying a bag of chips that's 90% air, except at least chips don't pretend to be gourmet. When you actually taste it, the flavor hits about as hard as a marshmallow in a pillow fight. Those vanilla bean flecks I mentioned? They're mostly for show. The actual taste is weaker than decaf coffee at a retirement home bingo night. Then there's the texture lottery you play with every carton. Sometimes it's somewhat creamy. Other times it feels like someone left ice crystals in there just to mess with you. Nothing ruins a good evening snack like crunching through what should be smooth ice cream. The weird part is, Turkey Hill has been around forever. so they know how to make ice cream. They just choose shortcuts instead. Historically, they've had labeling issues too, overpromising what's actually inside the container. Look, if you're just grabbing something quick for the kids, Turkey Hill won't poison anyone. But when mediocre brands like this charge serious money, it makes you wonder what truly reliable options are out there. Bluebell has built an empire on memories. Your grandparents probably swear by it, reminiscing about summer nights and perfect scoops from decades past. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Nostalgia makes a terrible ice cream ingredient. Modern Bluebell relies heavily on artificial flavors and high-fructose corn syrup instead of real cream and sugar. It's like watching your favorite childhood movie star age badly. The magic just isn't there anymore, but everyone pretends it is out of politeness. Well, the texture tells a different story entirely. Some batches come out creamy enough, while others feel disappointingly icy or bland. It's the ice cream equivalent of playing Russian roulette, except instead of danger, you're risking your dessert satisfaction. Not exactly what you want when you're paying premium prices for supposed premium quality. The real kicker? Bluebell knows people will buy it regardless of quality because of brand loyalty. They're banking on your fond memories doing the heavy lifting while their actual product coasts on autopilot. Makes sense from a business perspective, but your taste buds deserve better than corporate complacency. And the weird part is, how many older Americans continue defending it despite clear evidence their beloved brand has changed? It's like insisting your old car runs perfectly while smoke pours from the hood. But brand recognition can only carry you so far when the competition is actually trying. Speaking of trying too little while charging too much, let me tell you about Kemp's ice cream. It's like that neighbor who shows up to every barbecue, but never brings anything memorable. You know they're there, but good luck remembering why. Kemp's sits in this weird middle ground where it's too expensive to be a bargain and too bland to justify the price tag. It's the ice cream equivalent of elevator music. Sure, it exists, but does anyone actually choose it? The biggest problem? Inconsistency that would make a weather forecast jealous. One scoop melts faster than your patience at the DMV, while the next batch stays solid like it's holding a grudge. Some containers deliver decent vanilla. Others taste like they borrowed flavor from a birthday candle. But here's what really gets me. The artificial notes creeping into supposedly natural flavors. That strawberry? Tastes like it learned about berries from a textbook. The chocolate seems confused about whether it wants to be cocoa or just brown-colored disappointment. Then there's the texture lottery. Will today's scoop be creamy? Or will it have that weird, grainy feeling that makes you wonder if someone mixed in sandbox sand? Nobody knows. It's like playing Russian roulette with your dessert expectations. Kemp's proves that being widely available doesn't mean being worth buying. It's the ice cream your grocery store stocks because, well, someone has to fill that freezer space between the good stuff and the obvious disasters. Speaking of disasters, though, some brands actually surprise you by being worse than you'd expect. Now we're getting somewhere interesting. Prairie Farms sits right at that magical spot where ice cream stops being a disappointment and starts being actual food worth your money. Here's what makes Prairie Farms different from the disasters we just covered. The texture stays consistent, batch after batch. No surprise icy chunks that make you wonder if your freezer broke. No weird chalky aftertaste that makes you question your life choices. Their vanilla actually tastes like vanilla beans had a meeting with real cream and decided to be friends. Revolutionary concept, right? The chocolate doesn't taste like someone mixed cocoa powder with regret and hope. These are basic flavors done properly, which apparently counts as an achievement in today's ice cream world. But here's the thing that really matters for your wallet. Prairie Farms uses solid ingredients without charging you premium prices for mediocre results. They're not trying to fool you with fancy organic labels or nostalgic marketing campaigns. They just make decent ice cream that melts at the right speed and doesn't leave you wondering where your money went. Think of Prairie Farms like that reliable neighbor who always returns your lawnmower in working condition. Nothing fancy, nothing flashy, but you can count on them to do what they promised. The flavors stick around in your mouth long enough to remind you why you bought ice cream in the first place. That's more than we can say for the previous 5 brands. Speaking of doing things right, wait until you see what happens when a company actually controls their entire process. When a dairy cooperative from Oregon starts making ice cream, you'd think it might be hit or miss. Well, Tillamook proves that theory wrong in the best possible way. Here's what sets them apart from the competition. They actually control their entire supply chain. From the cows to your freezer, they oversee every single step. Think of it like your grandmother's cooking versus a chain restaurant. One has full control, the other crosses their fingers and hopes for the best. The texture? Consistently excellent. Batch after batch delivers that perfect creamy mouthfeel that doesn't turn into soup the moment you open the container. But here's where it gets interesting. Their flavors have this noticeable richness that tastes genuine, not like some lab technician's interpretation of what vanilla should be. And the weird part is how they balance quality with price. Most brands force you to choose, either pay premium prices for decent ice cream or settle for cheap stuff that tastes like frozen disappointment. Tillamook sits right in that sweet spot where your wallet doesn't hate you, but your taste buds actually thank you. The secret sauce? They've been perfecting dairy for over a century. Makes sense that when they decided to make ice cream, they'd nail it on the first try. It's like watching a professional chef make scrambled eggs. They make it look effortless because they understand their ingredients. But even Tillamook has some serious competition ahead. Let's see how they stack up against our next contender. Well, here's where things get interesting. Trader Joe's ice cream doesn't just rely on clever marketing and quirky packaging. It actually delivers quality that'll surprise you. Most people walk into Trader Joe's expecting decent snacks and weird seasonal products. But their ice cream? That's where they really show off. The texture hits that sweet spot of creamy without being too heavy, like finding a parking spot right in front of the store on a Saturday afternoon. Let's talk about ingredients. While other brands at this price point are pumping their products full of artificial nonsense, Trader Joe's keeps it real. Their vanilla actually tastes like vanilla beans, not like someone described vanilla to a chemistry set. Makes sense, right? But here's the kicker: the consistency. You know how some brands give you amazing ice cream one week and frozen disappointment the next? Trader Joe's figured out quality control. Every container delivers the same reliable experience, batch after batch. The flavors don't try to be fancy or revolutionary. They just nail the basics really, really well. Their chocolate doesn't taste like sweet chalk, and their strawberry actually reminds you of actual strawberries. Revolutionary concept, apparently. And the weird part is, the price stays reasonable. You're not paying premium prices for premium quality here. It's like getting first-class treatment on a coach ticket. The brand built its reputation on being different, but when it comes to ice cream, they earned it through pure quality. However, if you think Trader Joe's impressive, wait until you see what happens when a brand gets serious about social responsibility. Ben & Jerry's has something most ice cream companies lost decades ago: a soul. While other brands chase profits with corn syrup shortcuts, These Vermont hippies still use real cream, like it's 1972. But here's what shocked me during my taste tests. The texture stays consistent, batch after batch. No icy surprises, no chalky disappointments. Just that rich, dense creaminess your taste buds remember from childhood. And those mix-ins? They're not stingy with the cookie dough chunks or brownie pieces, but they don't turn your scoop into a candy bar either. Then there's the ethical angle, which sounds boring until you realize it actually affects taste. When companies source better ingredients because they care about farmers, guess what happens? The ice cream tastes better too. Makes sense, right? Their flavor range is honestly impressive. Sure, everyone knows Chunky Monkey and Cherry Garcia, classics that still deliver. But they'll also experiment with wild combinations that shouldn't work, but somehow do. Half-Baked combines cookie dough and brownies in one pint, which sounds like something a college student invented at 2 a.m. Yet it works perfectly. Well, there's one small issue. The price can make your wallet feel lighter than their ice cream containers. But compared to what you get with cheaper brands, those watery, artificial disasters we covered earlier, Ben & Jerry's delivers genuine value. Speaking of genuine value, though, wait until you hear about our top choice. We've finally reached the summit. Van Leeuwen isn't just ice cream. It's what happens when someone actually cares about every single ingredient that goes into the container. Here's the thing about small batch production. When you're making hundreds of gallons instead of thousands, you can taste every mistake. Van Leeuwen knows this. They use real Madagascar vanilla, not the artificial stuff that tastes like a chemistry experiment gone wrong. Their cream comes from cows that probably eat better than most teenagers. But why does this matter to your taste buds? Well, remember how your grandmother's homemade ice cream tasted different from store-bought? That's because she wasn't cutting corners. Van Leeuwen follows the same principle, just with better equipment and fancier ingredients. The texture tells the whole story. One scoop feels substantial, like you're eating actual cream instead of flavored air. It melts slowly on your tongue, which means the flavors have time to develop. Compare that to cheaper brands that disappear faster than your patience at the DMV. Their honey vanilla tastes like someone captured summer in a freezer. The chocolate is so rich, it makes other brands look like chocolate-flavored water. Even their weird flavors, and trust me, they get creative, somehow work because the base is so solid. Is it expensive? Absolutely. Will your wallet feel lighter? Without question. But here's the reality. Sometimes you get exactly what you pay for, and Van Leeuwen delivers luxury that actually tastes luxurious.